Good evening. I'll bring this regular city council meeting to order. If we could please rise for a moment of silence. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin.
Here.
Vice Mayor Coy.
Here.
Councilmember Dodd.
Here.
Councilmember Hill.
Here.
Councilmember Kitchen. Here. Thank you.
Council, any agenda modifications?
No.
I want to pull item C on the consent agenda, please.
Item 10C?
Item C, yes.
10C, okay.
Move to approve items A, B, D, and E. Oh,
We
not
weren't
yet.
up
I'm
there
sorry.
We're not there yet,
We're not
Andrea.
there
Duh.
A little bit more to go.
Let's skip ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right. Anything else? All right. Accept the proclamations, awards, and brief announcements. I guess we were honored again for Mr. Kilgore's great job, and we received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting has been awarded to the City of Sebastian by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada for their comprehensive annual financial report. The certificate is the highest form of recognition in the area of government accounting and financial reporting. The CAFR has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users to read the CAFR. So once again, thank you very much, Ken. How many years is this in a row? 15 or 16 years in a row? All right. You do a fantastic job. I really appreciate it. All right. And then, Mr. Griffin, you have an announcement for us?
Yes. It's my pleasure to introduce to council and to the public the new Community Development Director, Lisa Frazier. Lisa comes to us with impeccable credentials, both educational-wise and experience, and she's a welcome addition to the organization, and I'd like to say welcome aboard.
All right. Well, welcome. Any comments, Ms. Frazier?
Thank you. I am actually very excited to be a member of the City of Sebastian. I've been in this area for over 25 years. I live up in Brevard and Indialantic, but I worked for Kimley Horn down in Vero Beach for over 10 years. So again, I've been in this area for a very long time and have always admired the city. So very excited to be here and serving all of you. I have been a certified planner for over 20 years, and I'm looking forward to bringing that experience to the city. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Well, we look forward to it because I had a conversation with Fel Mattson from the MPO, and he couldn't have said anything better about you. So we look forward to seeing you at the first MPO meeting a couple of weeks from now.
Yep.
In October.
Yep.
All right, leads up to brief announcements. Tuesday, October 3rd, Sebastian Police Department, our outstanding law enforcement organization, has their community night out. It'll be from 5 to 7 p.m. on October 3rd at Sebastian's Riverview Park. Come out and meet local, state, and federal law enforcement officers and see emergency vehicles, motorcycles, and boats. And also they're going to have Colonel Danny McKnight from Black Hawk Down, and he has a photo op and book signing of his streets in Mogadishu for $20 a book. They come out, not only meet a real Army hero, but there's plenty of law enforcement heroes that'll be out there, so it's a great event. Any other brief announcements?
Just a special thank you to the police department who was going to do the Patriots Day ceremony on September 11th this year, And it looks like for years to come now that that's going to be turned over to the police department's hand. Thank you for being prepared to do that and do a good job. And I'm glad that the speaker is coming to your night out. That's perfect. But thank you for being ready to do that. We'll see you next year.
Any other brief announcements? All right, I'll recess the city council meeting and convene as the Community Redevelopment Agency, bringing the CRA meeting to order. Council, if I get an approval of September 13th CRA minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. Roll call on that, Ms. Williams?
Vice Chairman Coy,
Yes.
Mr. Dodd,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen,
Yes.
Chairman McPartlin.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Brings us up to item 7C, conduct public hearing on CRA budget for fiscal year 2018, and also the CRA Resolution 17-01. Mr. Griffin?
I'm going to let Mr. Kilgore, our CFO, make the presentation.
No particular presentation involved, but this is called out of our operating budget for the citywide budget. State statutes require us to approve it separately as a CRA. So we did make one change based on comments earlier about the sign program. So at the end of this week, this fiscal year, the current amount that's set aside will be frozen, not carried forward. It will carry forward in the balances of the CRA fund, but the appropriation then for next year will be the $40,000 number that y'all wanted to set as a limit for the year. Other than that, there's pretty much business as usual in paying the costs that we normally take out of the fund.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kilgore. Council, if
I'd move approval.
Second.
anyone from the public wish to speak about this Community Redevelopment Agency resolution? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Dodd,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Ms. Kitchen,
Yes.
Chairman McPartlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman
Yes.
Coy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll adjourn the CRA meeting and reconvene as the city council. Brings us up to item number 9, public hearing. We have our final hearing on the millage for calendar year 2017 and fiscal year 2017-2018 budget. Madam Attorney.
Thank you. Just as a reminder, this is a hearing in accordance with Florida Statutes 200.065 that states in part subpart D, during the hearing, the governing body of the taxing authority shall amend the adopted tentative budget as it sees fit, adopt a final budget, and adopt a resolution or ordinance stating the millage rate to be levied. The resolution or ordinance shall state the percent, if any, by which the millage rate to be levied exceeds the rolled back rate computed pursuant to the previous subsection, which shall be characterized as the percentage increase in property taxes adopted by the governing body. And also, as another reminder, the first substantive issue discussed shall be the percentage increase in millage over the rolled back rate necessary to fund the budget, if any, and the specific purposes for which ad valorem tax revenues are being increased.
Thank you. Mr. Griffin?
The attorney will read the titles to the resolutions, R-17-30 and R-17-31 and R-17-32.
Okay, resolution number R-17-30, a resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting a millage rate of 3.4000 mils for the calendar year 2017 and allocating the same to the fiscal year beginning the 1st of October 2017 and ending the 30th September 2018, providing for conflicts and providing for an effective date. Excuse me.
Are we going to do them
See,
one at a time?
you're going to do 1731, 2, you want to read them off, or you want to do them individually?
Oh, I'm
Read them
sorry.
all, please.
The second resolution is A resolution for the City Council of the City of Sebastian, it's Resolution R-17-31, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning 1st of October 2017 and ending 30th September 2018, making appropriations for the payment of operating expenses, capital expenses, and for the principal and interest payments on the indebtedness of the city and the city's general fund, special revenue funds, debt service fund, capital improvement funds, golf course fund, airport fund, and building department fund as provided for in Schedule A, attached hereto, establishing authority for the city manager to implement the budget, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. And the last one is resolution number R-17-32, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting a 6-year capital improvement program for fiscal years ending 2018 to 2023, providing repeal of resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Griffin?
Yes, it's my duty as city manager to announce the proposed millage rate. The proposed millage rate of 3.4000 mills, which is 2.69% lower than the computed rolled back of 3.4939.
Thank you. And Mr. Kilgore, are you going to give a budget overview?
Very briefly, really, we've gone through a long process since February or March of this year, constructing the budget. We had the tentative budget hearing on September 18th, as you know. The budget is balanced at the 3.4 mills. It includes the 3% increase for the employees, which you'll address later on this evening with amendments to the collective bargaining agreements. Based on the discussions we had at the first public hearing, we did modify the budget to allocate additional funds in the discretionary sales tax fund to roads. It includes the engineering study or evaluation of which roads would be recommended, and we have $300,000 of additional funds added to the capital improvement fund for the DST. There was some comments about some negative balances in a couple of the special revenue funds, the local option gas tax and the stormwater fund. We looked at the current year estimates of how much we would spend. You know, it's been a while since we originally constructed those, and we were able to modify those estimates and enable a balance in the future years to be on a positive level even after the reserve amounts. So we think we've complied with your wishes there, but there's no other changes to the tentative budget, and we recommend approval of the 3.4 millage resolution, the operating budget resolution, and the capital improvement fund resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Kilgore. At this time, I'll open the hearing for public comment on the millage, the budget, and the capital improvement plan. Anyone from the public wish to speak on those items?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Damian Gilliams, 1623 Sebastian, Florida. I'd like to welcome the new director for the community development. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for keeping our millage rate down to 3.4, and I know it's a little more, about 2% plus on the rollback rate. However, you're still sitting on a lot more reserves on the unassigned of $5 million plus in the special account that you have that's not assigned. And I want to thank Mr. Dodd for bringing it to your attention that we do need more money for transportation, for roads, stormwater, and drainage. We were very lucky to be missed by 2 storms recently in the past 2 years, Matthews and Irma. We need to be thinking about the future, not about a 100-year flood plan, but a larger and longer flood plan. We had 50 inches of rain in Texas. It can happen here. Our canal walls are crumbling. You did one side of the Highlands, yet you're reluctant to start a master plan for the other side. We have a legislative delegation in Tallahassee that's very powerful, right here on our Treasure Coast, and we're not making good use of him. I would like for you to try to find some money in your stormwater management budget and set something aside for lobbyists so that we can lobby St. John's Water Management, the state, the federal government, so we can get additional funding to get these seawalls at least on the radar. I'm not saying that we have to do it right away. I understand that you have an outstanding bond for the last seawall that you did on the other side of 512. And I'm not going to get into politics. There are people out there, constituents, and a lot of them that are very upset with this council. You're not putting it on the radar, and you're sitting on a lot of money, and you're being very reluctant to plan for the future when we're having these devastating hurricanes coming our way. We need to set aside and have a new committee for storms and hurricanes so that we can prepare properly before and after, and they can make recommendations to this council so it doesn't put us in a very bad predicament. We need to be thinking ahead. I looked at your capital improvement budget. I see that you have stuff for the engineering of streets, which I'm very happy to see. I see that you also have money set aside for the golf club restaurant, $189,000, and that's coming out of the discretionary sales tax account. I'm not happy about that. That money needs to come from the golf course. And I noticed that you've been carrying deficits of $500,000 over the years, and you keep bringing it forward. And I've been looking at your accounting, your CAFRA, and you know what your CAFRA is. That's your Certified Financial Analysis done as of September 30th of last year, showing how you spent your money. You're also planting, and you're using to pay your bonds, money out of the DSI account, the DST account, discretionary sales tax, and I see somewhere around $400,000 that should be coming out of your stormwater fund. So to me, it looks like it's not transparent. So in closing, thank you very much for keeping the millage rate at 3.4. I think we can do better. If you can be conscientious about hurricanes and storms and talk about these canal walls in your future meetings, set some money aside so that we can at least hire a lobbyist to get that grant money, because with the grant money brings the cost down. St. John's Water Management also has grant money. We need to tap into that. While we have the seat of power in Tallahassee, we need to make these moves now. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak on the millage, the budget, and the capital improvement plan? All right, this time I'll close the public hearing. Council, how do you want to handle adopt a resolution R-17-30?
I would move to adopt resolution R-30, adopting the millage levy of 3.4000.
Second.
Any further council discussion on the millage rate? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Kitchen,
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy,
No. No.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move approval of resolution R-17-31, adopting a budget for fiscal year 2017-18.
Second. Any further council discussion on this?
Yeah, just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Does it matter if I'm minded?
No, it does. Okay. I just want to emphasize that there was a lot of work put into the budget by the city staff, by the budget committee, and a lot of people. And right now, included in this budget are engineering studies on the streets to actually try to come up with a 5-year plan for completely repaving the street system where it's needed in the city. There's an engineering study on the wall replacement. That engineering study includes going through St. John's Water Management District to get approval on the repair process. Some of us believe that the current repair process may not be sufficient for them, but we'll see when we get through the approval process. It also includes an additional $300,000 on street repair during the current, the new fiscal year, which I think is important. It gives us an opportunity to patch some streets and go through. There's a lot of things that we can continue to add to the budget, but I think it's a really good first step in trying to reassess
some of the city infrastructure. Our reserve account of $5 million has already been impacted by one storm, and until we get confirmation from FEMA, there's about $1.5 million sitting out there that we're going to have to pay for storm damage that we haven't been confirmed we're going to receive. That's a separate discussion, but right now we are only really looking at a reality of about $3.5 million worth of reserves if FEMA refuses to reimburse us for that. So we have to anticipate the possibility of that happening. So there is some chance that we could get shorted on the FEMA reimbursement for that. So I think it's a good budget, and I think they've done a lot of work to try to help the city on doing this budget. So I think the city and the other people involved in this kind of need to be congratulated a little bit on the thing. So given to that, I'd like to vote on it.
All right. Any further discussion on the budget? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Kitchen,
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy,
No.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move approval of R-17-32, the 6-year capital improvement program.
Second.
Any discussion on the 6-year capital improvement plan? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy,
Surprise, yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Kitchen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Brings us up to item 9B. It's a quasi-judicial hearing. I'll open the hearing on the quasi-judicial hearing. Madam Attorney, if you want to read the ordinance.
Yes, and I just want to clarify, because you may notice that there are two versions of the ordinance in the packet. The one being presented by city staff that reflects the Planning and Zoning Committee recommendations are on page 67 of your packet. That was the original one. Resolution number R-17-25, a resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, approving the preliminary plat for a commercial subdivision known as Sebastian Medical Suites, approving subdivision adjustments from Article 19 of the Land Development Code, providing for conflicts herewith, and providing for effective date.
Council members, anyone need to disclose any ex parte communication involving this?
No.
No? Okay. Ms. Williams, you want to swear in all who intend to provide testimony, including staff?
Okay, for those who are going to provide testimony, if you stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and factual representation which you are about to give or present during this public hearing will be truthful and accurate? Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant or the applicant's agent going to provide a presentation? Yes. Mr. Schulke, you come up, please. At this time? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Councilman.
Good evening.
And Councilwomen. Pleasure to see you tonight. It's been a while since I've been up here. I'm Joe Schulke with Schulke, Biddle & Stoddard, Vero Beach, Florida, to present the application tonight. Before I get started, if you will, I'd like to ask staff just a quick question. Dory, was the documentation given to the City Council?
Yes, they received an addendum to this item on Tuesday afternoon.
Okay.
They received the three-sheet plans and your revised letter and the new
good,
resolution,
good.
yes.
It just makes it a little easier because I know you have it, so excuse me, pardon me for that little interruption. So Sebastian Medical is an approximately 9-acre project that's located between St. Sebastian Church and Walmart. Presently has a bank site on it and a medical building on it, and it has undeveloped property in the back. This was built quite a few years ago, I think maybe in '05 or something like that. We got the approvals. And it's just been going along. It's a successful medical building. But there's been some changes in ownership and what have you, and they would like to sell the Sebastian Medical Building. They don't want to sell the property in the back. So we had to approach staff and see if we could subdivide this property. It's presently 2 pieces of property. We did a lot split application back in 2005 to create a lot up front for the bank, and then the balance of the property is where Sebastian Medical sits. At that time, when it was approved of the lot split, it was approved with a condition that if we ever want to further subdivide, we'd have to go through the formal site plan, subdivision process, and the bank, although they're separate owner, would have to be included in that subdivision, which they are. So here we are today trying to subdivide and make that back piece of property a 3rd lot. And to do that, there are several issues with the land development code that we had to overcome and spoke to staff about. The city's land development code, and I truly believe that the land development code, when you read it, was really set up for Sebastian Highlands and for residential development. It wasn't set up for commercial development too well or commercial subdivisions. You see in other towns in Erie County, other towns in the, here in the adjacent counties, where when you do commercial subdivisions, you're not, you don't have these prescribed data, 50-foot right-of-way, all these setbacks. Example being the Vera Mall, where there are buildings in the parking lot that are actually separate lots, and you don't see the same type of 50-foot right-of-way and then a grass area and all that. So that's what we're trying to do here, is subdivide this property, but we have some of these hurdles of the subdivision code to get through, so we had to ask for adjustments, specifically 5 adjustments. One of those adjustments, which I'll get to in a little bit, we've actually had a last-minute change that we had to request, and that's what the addendum that you got is all about. So I'm going to just talk about the 4 of them that aren't changing first, and then we'll talk about that last one. So the adjustments that we're requesting to be able to subdivide this property, one of them is 54-4-19-11 B2, and that's right-of-way frontage. The code requires that all lots have frontage on a dedicated right-of-way that's 50-foot minimum. And like I said, a lot of times it's not practical with commercial sites when you get into commercial properties and you have different buildings on the site. And so we're asking for an adjustment from that requirement. But instead of having a frontage on a right-of-way, we'll have frontage on a dedicated easement at common lot line. So it'll be very similar to a road right-of-way, but it'll be an easement in lieu. It'll go straight through, it follows the existing driveway and goes to the back so you can get to that proposed back lot. It's, like I said, this is, we're not inventing the wheel. It's done in municipalities and counties all over the place for commercial project. The number 2 is environmental considerations. The code requires that all performance standards, environmental protection shall be satisfied when you subdivide a property. And we're asking that you give us an adjustment to that to basically postpone the requirement for the environmental assessment. And this is why. In 2005, we did a full environmental assessment on the property. We looked at the soils, we looked at vegetation, we looked at endangered species. There are scrub jays in the back, and that back property was not developed at that time. If we're ever to develop it, whether we subdivide or not, if I came in tomorrow with an application to put another medical building back there, we'd have to do an environmental assessment, see if there's scrub jays, where they are, and where we can set the building, and whether we had to do any mitigation. So the mere fact that we're platting and creating a lot is really not causing any additional impact or any harm to the scrub jays or wetlands or anything else. It's merely just creating a property line. And so that's why we're asking for an adjustment to just postpone that environmental assessment that we would have to do or redo, because it was done in 2005, until such time that there's actually a proposed development on the back piece of property. We'd have to do that anyway, whether we subdivide it or not. The next adjustment, and these are all transportation-related items. The code requires that all subdivisions shall have certain right-of-way characteristics, indicate that you have to have a local road with curb and gutter and shall be 50-foot wide. The easement that we're proposing varies from 48-foot to 42-foot wide, but the pavement within this area is more than adequate. It's 16-foot lanes where you go through the median, and it's, I think, 24-foot wide where it's a double lane or wider going towards the back. So we provide the width that you would be required in a right-of-way or anywhere else to have adequate access and circulation. So we're requesting that you permit that easement with 48-foot wide or 42-foot wide. Another one is transportation systems. The code requires that all subdivisions shall have a certain street right-of-way characteristics. Dead-end streets shall be prohibited except when designed as a cul-de-sac. So what we did is probably better than a cul-de-sac. We have the road that goes in, and at the end, it's got a big T turnaround, a large one that a truck can turn around. But better than that, we also have put an easement through the driving aisles of that whole parking lot in the back. So that easement is a permanent access easement. So instead of just trying to turn in an 88-foot diameter cul-de-sac, you can have an easement for rights to go around the entire parking lot through the driveway. So not only do you have a T turnaround, but you have the ability to go and turn around through a parking lot like you would in any mall or anything else. You can turn around. There's plenty of places to drive, but we're platting a dedicated easement, 24-foot wide over those drive aisles. So you can essentially go up, go through the parking lot, make a loop. So I like to call it, it's almost like a huge cul-de-sac, if you will. Instead of being 88-foot diameter, it's a couple 100 foot to go around. So that's what we're asking in that case. And again, we're platting that, so it's a dedicated easement that'll always be there to guarantee that it's easily accessible and you can easily go around it. The last adjustment is what is changing and what has changed. And that adjustment is 54-4-1911I. And I'm sorry I didn't read the code sections before, but I know you have it as Exhibit B in your document with all the code references and the sections. That code requires that all subdivisions shall be designed with at least 2 public means of ingress and egress. Well, as you know, the site already has a main ingress and egress on US 1. The site is long and narrow. It's virtually impossible to design, especially because you've got a bank there already in this site, to have another. As a matter of fact, the DOT wouldn't give us another access when our property is only a couple, 300 feet wide. You just wouldn't get 2 roads on US 1. It's impossible to do. You couldn't satisfy that criteria. When we met with staff almost a year ago, we said, well, let's look at getting emergency access easement through St. Sebastian Church. And there's an existing physical driveway there now that connects to their parking lot. As a matter of fact, the church parks in my client's property, overflow parking on Sundays all the time. So it's connected. But there was never a formal agreement back in 2005. It was just kind of a handshake. Yes, church, you can park here, no problem, and we have an access to get out. Well, staff and my client had looked to formalize that and provide an actual easement from our site to that driveway. And as soon as you hit that driveway heading north, you take an immediate right through the driveways right out to US 1. So there would be another access to US 1. We asked the church for that easement, and again, it would be a permanent but a emergency access easement. And in return, we offered them an easement over the parking spaces in the back parking lot. So they would have parking easement in perpetuity. After quite a while, 6 months of talking them out, working things through, it came down to the very end where we thought we were done. They'd asked for insurance, final proof, and lo and behold, like a week ago, they pulled the rug out from under us and said, no, we're not signing it. So now we're stuck without this easement. So we went back to staff and asked them for some help, said, how can we solve this problem? And again, the intent of the code is to try to get another access. One, the physical access is there. No one's taking that driveway away. No one's taking that physical asphalt driveway connection to the church away. We're not. And I'm certain the church isn't, because they're probably going to still continue to park on the property. So you have that physical connection there without an easement, but you do have the connection. And I'm certain if our driveway was blocked for some crazy reason, the fire department would come right through the church property, and vice versa. That's just what would happen. But to make it a little better, we also said, well, let's see if we can get another access point. So we decided talked to staff about it, and we're going to stub out one of our driveways right to our south property line towards the Walmart parking lot. Now that gets us to our property line, but it doesn't get us to the asphalt in Walmart. It's 10 feet away. So we're 10 feet away. We can't force Walmart to pave it. We can't force them to allow us to pave it, but it's there ready to go. There's nothing but grass between their parking lot and our stubbed out area. And frankly, I think when Walmart comes and talks to the city maybe about any kind of approval in the future, staff could probably have a little leverage and say, hey, go ahead and make that connection. because I think it's consistent with the Land Development Code to have interconnectivity, keep people off the major roads. So that is our other solution. So we'll have the main access on US 1, we have a physical connection through the church, and we're gonna have a stub out ready for a future connection to the Walmart parking lot. So our adjustment, or our request for adjustment, is to permit one public means of ingress and egress that is legal, that is platted, and then acknowledge and recognize that we have a physical connection to the church, that we're going to stub out so we have very close to a physical connection to Walmart and a potential in the future, and we will provide easements over our part to our property line, so they're in perpetuity to those points, to the church and to the Walmart property line, and that's the best we can do, and that's the adjustment we're asking for. So I hope you believe that's reasonable. I hope you could approve this project tonight, and like to answer any questions you have.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Schulke right now?
I do.
Yes?
No, go ahead.
Joe, in looking through this application, it seems like one of those situations where, you know, jumping through bureaucratic hoops in order to get things done. And I'm totally against making it difficult to get these things platted out and subdivided, and I'm all in favor of getting more business along of US 1 there. The question I have for you is, this issue was brought up because back when it was originally built, when that the medical building was originally built, in order to allow for that to happen, were these agreements in place that these other issues would have to take place, or is there other extenuating circumstances that are causing you to not be able to just subdivide this lot? Now, I understand you need to be on a dedicated road, right? I guess maybe this question is for Bodori. Are these for you?
Let me try to answer what I think the answer to the question is.
Okay.
Is in 2005, it was simple. The bank wanted a piece of property, and we did a lot split and sold it to them. The clients wanted to develop a Sebastian Medical Center, and there was a phase 2 for another medical building in the back. Your Land Development Code does not require 2 means of public access for a site plan. So even today, we could apply and we could submit a site plan for a building in the back if we get through, drainage hurdles, all those other things, which I know we can, because we did for the first part. We wouldn't have to provide a second means of access. We could build exactly, we could build the same thing whether we plat or, without platting. We can have that building there and not have to have it. Your code
But
does not require it.
the issue is you want to sell
right.
a current facility that's there.
Exactly.
And in order to do that, you need to subdivide this property.
Right, exactly. Right. They want to sell the property, and we have to subdivide to do it. But the point I'm trying to make is absent of that, you could build in the back, and we wouldn't have to have that. The mere fact that we're wanting to plat and subdivide, the code requires a secondary means of access. Do you see what I mean?
I totally understand. I've seen these dozens of times. I'm just trying to get people to understand what the situation is that we're dealing with. So now, another part of the situation is that each lot has to be on a dedicated right-of-way. Is that correct? And the answer to that is, rather than give a right-of-way, we can give an easement.
Correct.
How difficult would it be to make that a right-of-way?
It's basically impossible, because if it's a right-of-way, you have you're now creating front setbacks from that right-of-way, and then the building is encroaching on the setback. We'd have a non-conforming site at that point, because you end up creating a front setback that goes through. If you're familiar with a site, when you go in the driveway and you go in, there's a porte cochere and a building right to your left.
Right.
And we can't move the road because there's a lake and a bank on the right. So the road is where it is. And creating a right-of-way means front setbacks, means you have
okay, so there again,
non-conforming.
becomes impossible to develop this property in a reasonable manner.
Exactly.
And then the access issue, I would just say that I've seen a lot of emergency accesses on subdivisions with a gate where the fire department could just push right through it in order to get on the property. So I don't think that's a major issue. But those were my questions. The issues that you're dealing with are issues that were not necessarily created by the developer. They're created by our codes.
Yes, sir.
And the idea here is to subdivide this so they can sell a piece of the property, But while you're subdividing it, you want to subdivide it, you don't want to just take that piece of property off. You want to go ahead and make the move to subdivide it even further.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mr. Schulke. Good to see you again. It's been a long time.
It has, Ms.
Yeah.
Goy. Nice to see you.
Just a couple things that I want to highlight. I'm really sorry that you had such a hard time getting the access. And I just want to say publicly, express my disappointment that this is the third business opportunity, number 3, that we have asked the Catholic Church for access to. The first one was Holiday Inn Express, a long time ago. That was no, for whatever issues they were trying to resolve. But it was easement and access and cut-throughs. Then there was Shady Rest on the other side of the property that was addressed to the Catholic Church. The answer was no. And now this is the third time for a business opportunity of a neighbor, and this is what's so disappointing. Your client lets the Catholic Church use their parking lot for flea market Saturdays. Your client is being very beneficent, and in exchange, they got a no. Once again, it's very disappointing that the diocese or wherever this is being stopped, whether it's local. Do you know whether it's at the local level? Where does this stop?
No, ma'am. They're very cooperative at the local level. Unfortunately, this was right at the bishop's office where it stopped, last minute.
Really? Well, let me just state that I think it's pretty sad that someone who's in the charity business and charitable cannot look charitably on your clients. I intend to be charitable, and it's a shame that the Catholic Church one of these days can't be charitable to some other business opportunity. They're not the only game in town. It would be nice if they would be nice neighbors too and reciprocate. So I'm very sorry and apologize to your clients that we had to go through all of this. That's all I have. I intend to approve this. I just wanted to go on the record.
Thank you.
I do have one question.
You have a question, Mr. Schulke?
Yeah, I do. There was an indication that you're going to have to rebuild the storm retention lake if you do develop the back part of this. I read that in one of these minutes or something.
Not the large lake that you see right behind the bank.
Okay.
There is just a retention area on the very back of the existing parking.
Okay.
And that was actually set up in an easement as a temporary drainage easement because it was acknowledged then that when and if a new building goes in the back, that's the best place for a building to go. And that building would go there, and then the drainage facilities would be built, relocated to the back of that building in the back.
Okay. It's a somewhat simple thing when you've got a single owner and someone has to maintain stormwater retention ponds and so forth. And when you have multiple owners that are independent, it becomes a different issue. Is there some intent to
Oh,
do
yes,
some
there's a
deed
property
restriction or
owners
something on that?
association that has been prepared by Bill Stewart, William Stewart, an attorney in Vero Beach.
Okay.
And his partner Rebecca is here, Emmons, if you need to ask any questions about that. But they put together a property owners association where the bank, the Lot 1 and 2 and 3 all participate in
Okay,
the
so
maintenance.
you do have that taken care of then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, that's it.
Any other question from Mr. Schulke? You just have a seat, don't go far, though.
Certainly. Thank you for the
All right,
opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Ms. Bosworth, you have a...
Thank you, Councilman. I think Mr. Schulke has explained what they're requesting with the approval of this plat. I would just like to clarify or kind of explain a couple of things in regards to, I think what Mr. Hill was asking is, as this started off as one large piece of property, when the bank came in, our code does allow in our subdivision for a division of one time that you can take a large piece of property and chunk off a piece. And when we went through that process for the PNC Bank, as a condition, we stated that if this is going to be further divided, then you need to go through the subdivision process, which is also stated in our code. This would prevent a very large piece of property from always doing this division of lot, and this is our safety net, so then we can require the required right-of-ways or the easements and the accesses for something that's being divided more than twice. I think, and Mr. Schulke is correct, though, that I believe our Article 19 was mostly developed for larger residential subdivisions. But the article wisely included this adjustments, that they can ask for adjustments. And basically what that is instead of a variance, which is allowed for and described in Article 2, that if you need relief from the general code, they come before you as the Board of Adjustment as a variance. This is embedded in this article that they can request an adjustment from these different sections of the code. And this is similar to the waivers that the Planning and Zoning Commission is allowed to give in the in the overlay districts. Instead of having to go through this variance process as a separate process to get these relief from these subdivision codes. The Section 4 adjustments, which is what you would be approving if you vote to approve the resolution, is that after consideration and recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission, that you feel that you are going to authorize adjustments from this chapter when, in your opinion, undue hardship may result from strict compliance. And that's basically what the applicant is requesting and saying, for us to meet all of these subdivision codes and this strict compliance, this is creating an undue hardship for us not to be able to divide our property and develop it as a separate lot. And so what would happen if you approved the preliminary plat tonight? You were given a sheet that is actually the subdivision construction drawings, sort of say, where they are going to have to revise some of their parking, create where the apron where they're going to get to the Walmart property line, and then they will have to come before you for their final plat, where you'll see all of this on their Mylars and the actual subdivision that will be recorded. Staff has considered these adjustments. We feel that it is undue hardship to impose these conditions on this 3-lot commercial subdivision. We recommend approval of the resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Bosworth. Council, you have any questions for Ms. Bosworth? No? Okay. At this time, I'll open the floor for anyone in favor of the request. This time, I'll open the floor for anyone opposing the request. Okay, you think you need to summarize anything, or you're happy with what you said?
I'm good with what I said.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor? I'm
Yes.
sorry, can I just interject briefly? Again, you have before you two resolutions with the same title and the same number. So I would just ask that if and when you make a motion, the first one, the one that I've read and that I've referred to, is the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And in granting an adjustment, the City Council must consider the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission. The second one is a resolution with language that the applicant is putting forth as an alternate that he was referring to earlier. So I just ask when you make a motion, you make sure you clarify which version of the resolution you are proposing to adopt. Thank you.
And the second one they presented had to do with item number 5, which was on the thing to get a little bit better direction, correct?
Mr. Mayor?
The resolution that was...
It's the one in the addendum.
The resolution that went before the Planning and Zoning Commission has a section that has a recommended condition of approval for the easement with the St. Sebastian Church. That's the resolution that is no longer being requested to be approved. It's the one that does not have the condition.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move approval of resolution number R-17-25 as provided in item 9B, the addendum.
Second.
Is that in 9B, so that's the one that includes item A in section 1, which we have to remove that, correct? We want to amend that to remove item A, section 1. Is that not correct?
No, the
The
addendum...
one provided by the Planning and Zoning Commission is the one that's in
She
our
wants us to
agenda,
ignore
which is,
the other
and in section 1, item A, it asks for the church waiver. So we want to remove that, do we not?
I think we want to do the addendum to 9B, right?
He wants to do, the one that was given to us.
Right. And it says with the letter revised, R-1725 revised plans.
I'll let Mr. Hill clarify what specifically he was referring to, but I believe because he said in the addendum to 9B, he was referring to the resolution that did not include the condition, and that has a certification date of the preliminary plat of September 26th, 2017, rather than August 31st, 2017. Is that correct, Mr. Hill?
That is correct.
The latest
Yes,
one that
okay.
came before us.
We're
Okay, I second that. All right, is there any further council discussion on this matter? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Vice Mayor Coy,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Kitchen,
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, now that brings us up to our item 10, our consent agenda. And remember, Ms. Kinchin pulled item C, 10C.
Recommend approval of item A, B, D, and E.
I'd like to pull item, before we do that, I've got to find it here. I'd like to pull item B.
Recommend approval of item A, D, E.
Second. I get a roll call on that, Ms. Williams?
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill, Councilmember Kitchen,
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, leads us up to item 10B, Resolution R-17-33. Mr. Dodd, you pulled this item?
Yes, and it's a very simple. On page 112, let me get myself on the right page. It's not 112. Okay, it's 114. The last paragraph. The city staff has changed the fund amount for the unencumbered general fund reserves to $5 million. My question basically is there a minimum amount to that, because this doesn't require that we even have a reserve account. It just basically says we're going to target the reserve account to an amount up to $5 million, or that's an unassigned amount. Is there a minimum amount of reserves that we feel that the city should shoot towards that might be something that's used during budgeting for the purpose of trying to decide how to balance budgets?
Based on this year's hurricane system, I'd like to keep that $5 million in there.
No, I'm not talking about changing that. I'm saying, okay, this says that we're gonna shoot for a fund balance of $5 million. It doesn't say we have to have a fund balance of $5 million.
No.
We're gonna put funds in there as we have surpluses to get to $5 million. My question is there a minimum amount for that fund that we feel like that the city should go through whatever means is necessary to get to reserve?
Previous councils have decided that $5 million is the minimum amount.
Well, that means we're going to raise taxes to get the $5 million. That's my question, and
No, it doesn't.
That's not what this document says, and that's not what I don't think we would do for $5 million.
It's a target amount.
Yes,
We
I know.
always shoot high,
Yeah.
and it's a moving target.
Okay.
So,
Well, I would suggest, if I could, that I do like the idea of having a floor. We have a ceiling. I do like the idea of having a floor. We don't want to leave ourselves with a $1 million.
Right.
You know, so council up here decides some year in the future that they want to do all of these projects, and they start ripping out of the fund, and then they end up with $2 million or $1 million in the fund, and then something happens and we don't have enough money, and it could be disastrous for the community. So I do like the idea of a floor. However, I would suggest that this evening would not be the time to discuss that, as
Okay.
I think we would need to have staff look into what they would think would be a reasonable floor. I think it's a great idea, but I think without having the real good numbers and having maybe a discussion item on this exact paragraph, I think that tonight is not really appropriate to have that discussion. Now, although we are making the changes or approving the financial policies, I think if something of that magnitude wants to be discussed, then we need to have staff prepared to have that discussion. And I don't think that at this moment they are, and nor am I. I could be.
I'm very comfortable with that. I accomplished what what my objective was, and that was to begin the conversation. So
Good.
I move approval of
Okay,
this
good.
item.
Second.
anyone from the public wish to speak on this Resolution R-17-33? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Member Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Kitchen,
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Leads us up to item 10C, approved change order number 1. Ms. Kinchin, you pulled this item?
Yes, I did. I'd just like to get a little bit of background on this. Why is this change order so much money? What did we miss?
A couple of things that we did miss was the instability of the windows out on the front facade of that building. Those windows are 35 to 40 years old as the building, 40 years old almost. They are single pane. They have trouble around the frame. It's a wonder they haven't been blown out during the hurricanes. So the suggestion was made, let's make it more stable, and if we're going to do it on the bathroom side, then it would follow, aesthetically speaking, that we do it on the kitchen side also. So we wanted to get that done. That's number one. We do have a credit there with the hot water heater. Isn't that correct? Correct. The hot water heater is staying. We do have a credit. I think it's $750, not that much, really. A couple of the other things was some of the fixtures. The fixtures were really basic fixtures and lighting, and we wanted to make sure, since we are refurbishing the golf course clubhouse, that we really put a classier step forward. I did make that decision to have the contractor investigate for better fixtures, toilet fixtures, sink fixtures, especially in the ladies' room, and those were added. So basically, Councilmember Kinchin, that's about it. I did make a mistake on the agenda transmittal. Obviously, the total cost for this is this requested change order of $9,441, plus the contract amount, $38,987. Obviously, the total cost is $48,428, and we had budgeted $50,000.
Okay, that answers my question. I move to approve.
Second.
Item C.
All right, anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Kitchen,
Yes.
Mayor McPartland,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Leads us up to committee reports and appointments. Any council member have any committee reports? No? All right, leads us up to item 12, unfinished business. 12A, resolution number R-17-34, ratifying a wage adjustment. Madam Attorney, is this your resolution?
Resolution R-17-34, a resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, duly ratifying a wage adjustment equivalent to 3% for all full-time and part-time hourly employees, excluding temporary and seasonal employees, in accordance with Article 20.2 of the collective bargaining agreement between the bargaining unit of the Coastal Florida Public Employees Association, CFPEA, and the City of Sebastian for the period 1st of October 2016 through 30th September 2019, authorizing the city manager to notify all parties of the city's ratification and cause said increases to be put into effect, providing for repeal of resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes, sir. This and the PBA agreement was kind of the last thing that fell into place in our, with regard to the budget. I have Ken to thank for both of these issues, and I'm recommending approval.
Move approval of resolution R-17-34.
Second.
Anyone from the public wish to speak on resolution number R-17-34? Any further council discussion?
Yes, you actually have someone out there who wants to speak.
You come on up and state your name and where you live for the record, sir.
My name is Russell Herman. I reside at 586 Redwood Court. I first of all want to commend our city staff for the excellent work they always do. It's one of the reasons I chose to live in Sebastian, because the staff and all the employees work very hard and make it a wonderful place to live. And I would hope that the council approves this motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this matter? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
Councilmember Kitchen?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Up item 12B, resolution number R-17-35, ratifying a wage adjustment for the police department. Madam Attorney?
Resolution number R-17-35, a resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, duly ratifying a 3% wage increase for all steps of pay grade 27 and 30 in accordance with Article 15.2 of the collective bargaining agreement between the bargaining unit of the Coastal Florida Police Benevolent Association, CFPBA, and the City of Sebastian for the period 1st of October 2016 through 30th September 2019, authorizing the city manager to notify all parties of the city's ratification and cause said increases to be put into effect, providing for repeal of resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes, sir. Recommending approval, please.
Move to approve Resolution R-17-35.
Second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Weems.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
Councilmember Kitchen?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us up to public input. Anyone from the public wish to speak on something not already on the prepared agenda? Now is the time.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for letting me speak. My name is Bob Stephen. I live at 150 Concha Drive here in Sebastian. I want to say, I had a speech I was going to say, but then I'm going to keep it simple. The unannounced Agent Orange type spraying in front of my house is killing me. I'm going to have to sell the house, and I'm going to hold you all accountable for it. And I don't think it's a thing to smirk about either. I've had some of you laugh at me, and I'm pretty sick of it. This stuff is killing me.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Brings us up to item 14, A, new business award consultant service agreement to MBV Engineering in the amount of $34,500 for Public Works compound relocation. Mr. Griffin.
Yes, sir. After the last council meeting, I had got into my second discussion with MBV, who are one of our CCNA consulting engineers, about the moving of the Public Works compound. I had given them notice of this back in July, August, that I wanted to get this into the budget and get it moving right after the 1st of October to free up some money for road reconstruction. Approached them. They had been working on this, and they had a consultant service agreement already worked up. They got it to me, and I'm presenting it to you here tonight. I do apologize for my mathematical error about the total amount of this project is going to be $57,000. That would leave about $43,000 in that line item for other contingencies as we move along during this this engineering process with MBV. I'm recommending approval. Thank you.
I'd move approval.
Second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on the awarding of this consultant service agreement? Any further council discussion? Roll call, Ms. Weems.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Yes.
Councilmember Kitchen?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coy?
Yes.
The motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Madam Attorney, you have anything further for us tonight?
No, thank you.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes, sir, I do. I have three things, and I'm going to have to read a lot of this. One of these is communication I had with Vince Burke, Indian River County Utilities. I want to update council and obviously the public on 3 projects that are ongoing right now in the city of Sebastian. The first one is the Fisher Lake Water Main Assessment Project. That project is complete. An as-built resolution will be presented to the Board of County Commissioners on Tuesday, October 10th, if approved, and they are anticipating that residents will be able to connect to county water after that's approved, so at that time. Septic to sewer, North Sebastian, North Indian River County project. There has been a delay, obviously, because of the hurricane. The contractor is requesting a 50-day extension. The notice to proceed was issued on August 10th of 2017 with an end date of July 6, 2018. If that extension is granted, that 50-day extension, that would push the date back to August of 2018. So we can anticipate that probably. The third one is the Collier Creek Harbor Point Water Main Assessment Project. County staff has received bids and is prepared to present the results of those bids to the Board of County Commissioners on October 3rd for the award. The contract has a 240-day completion timeline, so that would be completed in the summer of 2018. Next thing, I want to bring council and the public up to date on our debris removal process. We were approved for Cat A debris removal and Cat B emergency, both pre-storm and post-storm. Indian River County was approved for that. Our first pass, City of Sebastian initiated our first vegetative debris removal on Wednesday, September 13th, and we ended on Saturday, the 23rd, 11 days. Total vegetation debris removed was almost 12,000 cubic yards. Construction and demolition collection is to start tomorrow on September 28th, and we're anticipating about 2 to 3 days for that to be completed. Our second and final pass of vegetative debris collection will begin on Monday, October 2nd, and we are anticipating finishing that on Thursday the 5th. So we are going to have one more pass of vegetative debris collection all through the city, and then we will be terminated with our vegetative debris collection that is going to be with our FEMA debris hauler. At that time, we will start processing our application for FEMA reimbursement, and we will be finished. The magic number is 31 days from the end of the storm until we finish our debris collection. So we should be in line to get the higher amount of FEMA reimbursement, hopefully, if and when that comes. The third thing is about Special Olympics. On October 7th and October 8th, there is a swim meet at the North County Aquatic Center on 5/12, and it's a Special Olympics swim meet. I would encourage everyone to come out there and see it, but number two, we need volunteers. So we are imploring folks that please volunteer. It's a 2-day event, 7th and 8th. Please volunteer, come out, help with this worthwhile project. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Ms. Williams, you have anything?
Not tonight, thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Coy, you have anything?
Just kudos to the city for having, according to the Press Journal today, we are way, way, way ahead of our county counterparts as far as debris collection. I think you did a great first pass, and I'm super excited that it's going to be all done by the end of next week. We'll be finished. Congratulations. That's really a good job. Job well done. And the Special Olympics, if you have never volunteered for that or watched that, you really do need to go. If you're going to volunteer, you must fill out an application. Chief, are you accepting the applications, or the Sheriff's Department? Who on that flyer? You have to have a police check to volunteer to work with Special Olympics. Is there a person to call?
Yes, the contact would be Dave Smith out at the Aquatic Center. The phone number there, 581-7665, 581-7665. Dave Smith is the aquatics director.
It doesn't cost any money to you, but
No.
they run some kind of sheriff check to make sure that you're okay to work with the adults. It's really, really something spectacular. So I encourage people to do that. Just want a quick check also to see if, did you ever hear back from FPL if they're going to be able to come?
I have not. I have sent the email, and
Okay.
I'll follow up with a phone call.
Because I've been trying to follow up. I'm kind of getting the runaround from Bart. But anyway, I know they have a lot on their plate, but I want to talk to them.
I'm trying to arrange that for the next meeting,
Okay.
October 11th.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Dodd? Mr. Hill?
Nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Kinchin?
I just have a question. Sometime back, we talked about instituting a program for merit raises as well as the 3%. Where are we at? Where do we stand on that program?
That, Ken and Cynthia are, that's that $75,000 that we have budgeted for that, or right around there. Yes, ma'am. Ken and Cynthia are working on that. I've talked to Ken about a few of those things, and that is in progress. We will not dispense any of those funds before we have a policy before council.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
All right.
One. Oh, Andrea forgot something.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll share with you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I just
I'm
want to
done.
be back in the queue.
Okay.
One more thing
Yeah.
about MPO. For Ms. Fraser, you're going to be at our MPO meeting, I hope, at the next one, because we have the issue with Shady Rest and a cut-through on US 1. So, good. We look forward to seeing you there. Just wanted to publicly make sure she was coming.
That it?
That's it.
Okay. All right, all I have is the Department of Children and Families is instituting their disaster food stamps. 48 counties in the state of Florida have been determined to be eligible for this supplemental nutritional assistance program, and this is for people who don't normally get food stamps. Those people get their accounts replenished, but this is for the rest of the people who might have lost food due to relocating or a loss of power. They might be eligible for assistance. We're going to be holding it in Indian River County October 6th through October 10th, so I can't go to the Special Olympics because they'll be running that site. And they'll be open from 7 in the morning to 6 at night, so people might be eligible. It's best if you pre-register, so you can check the Department of Children and Families website and see if you are eligible, and it may be worthwhile. And of course, you can always feel free to give me a call at one of my many numbers, or email me for further information. All right. Being no further business, we're in adjournment. Good night.